Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So unleashing those secrets, right? Three-letter agencies trying to start another race war. Looks like it. We've seen this before in the past with the Tate Manson murders, Helter Skelter. Charles Manson just recently died, stabbed to death, I believe, in prison. Interesting. So his ties to a three-letter agency has been basically shut down. So, and then we have, of course, George Floyd, another race war attempt. So they continue to try to start these race wars. The latest one is on a subway in North Carolina. So this one supermodel, Ukrainian supermodel that left Ukraine, CIA, basically to escape war-torn Ukraine, enters a subway and sits right in front of a man that is going to stab her to death. All right. So, and then as she sits down, you see her look right up at the video that's going to do this. Watch this happen. All right. Now, was she really killed? Or was this, I believe it's another false flag, but was she really killed? This looked like it. Looks pretty bloody. This guy, I guess, had been released by DEAs and judges 14 times. He's a psycho, and they kept releasing him. So looks like they got their little Manchurian candidate all set up and put him on the train. This will be your target. He doesn't know her. She thinks that she's going in for a screenplay for a movie act, probably, and doesn't realize she's actually going to be killed, right? Just like the Tate Manson murders. So we'll look at this. It's another, I believe, attempt to start a race war. These attempts will keep on going until they get what they want. Or until these criminals are basically identified and stopped, right? That, promote these and continue to try to do these things, set them up, and so forth. Coming from Laurel Canyon, we'll talk about that. CIA activity in Laurel Canyon, California, quite extensive. The latest, the BLM, head of the Black Lives Matter, that came out during the George Floyd attempt to start a race war. The BLM, Black Lives Matter head, got a home, multi-million-dollar home in Laurel Canyon. I wonder who paid for that, right? So we know who paid for that. I brought it up. Who paid for that? It's CIA. Right. So it's being exposed. We're exposed as fast as we can. They try and shut us down as much as they can, but we keep exposing them. So let's jump in and talk about a little bit of this. I'm going to show you guys lots of different video and pictures, and how this is basically, obviously, another one of those attempts for a race war. And you just look at the patterning and you're like, okay, here we go. Once again, they're going to try and start this race war. Right. So here's a picture. Tommy Robinson. All right. So Tommy Robinson, pushing back on the UK government. So he's coming to America to point stuff out now. So I think this is very interesting. All right. So as you see right there, she's looking right up at the camera as the guy behind her killer, is getting ready to do them. So here she is, Ukrainian supermodel, right? Just randomly gets onto a subway train in North Carolina, and North Carolina is basically going to the Democrats, the deep state. So you see her right here. Looks like she's, very underdressed for a supermodel. So. Trying to be low key there, but yeah, that's very interesting how she just looks right at that camera. Okay, this is where I was told to sit. Make sure you look up and see the camera that you're in the right position. So she's doing that. She probably was told there will be a man in a red top that's going to be sitting in a seat, sit right in front of him. And then we'll roll the movie scene and you're going to be famous. You're going to be famous. And she's like, oh, thank you. And so there we go. So Irina Zaruska, a Ukrainian refugee, flees to the USA. Good job, Tommy. You just know, how do you know this stuff? Because it wasn't reported in any news articles anywhere, all right? And still hasn't been. Boards her train in Charlotte, Deep State Central now, North Carolina, sits down and is killed from behind by DeCarlos Brown Jr. for no apparent reason. WTF is going on here? All right, so let's play this little clip. All right, so yeah, these what's going on with this Zapides pizzeria? She's promoting that. So we know the thing about pizzas, that's tied to pedophilia, right? And so we're going to talk about the Tate Manson murders. All right, so the guy that's I should jump ahead. So anyway, here is, he's going to like stand up and just do a wicked kill, like stabs her, I guess, 2 or 3 times in the neck. All right, so right here, he's taking out his pocket knife. She just does not know anything that's going on. She's focused on her phone there. Now, here he goes. They're not going to actually, it's almost like she is preparing for that. See how she's like, how her arm is like held there. It's like she knows he's going to do that because she was told that he's going to do that, but she doesn't realize perhaps it's really going to happen. Now, did it really happen, or was it staged blood, or who knows, guys? The report is that the people tried to save her. Of course, as she stabbed in the carotid, right there, there's no way, unless you go in and pinch the carotid off, that she's not going to bleed out. So if it did happen, there's no way that she's going to survive it. All right, so they blanked that part out, but here you see he's dripping blood or something. All right, and they walk around, he's leaving bloody footprints. So there he is, dripping blood. Now, supposedly he walks by and he says something about, I hit it 2 times or something. I saw, you can't hear it here, but apparently in another one, people are saying that he said a couple times, or I hit her, like I stabbed her 2 times or something, right? So these people don't know what's going on. Obviously, they're either not part of the play, or they are part of the play and they're playing their parts. Who knows? Central casting. Looks like there's probably complete central casting going on with this, I believe. So that guy looks down. He notices the blood right there, and he looks at that guy, but no one does anything. So you would think that all of these people, if he stabbed her, then the people that were sitting back there, so you're looking, she gets on and sits down. It's not showing it here, but there's all kinds of people around back. There's a couple of people back here, all right? So there's a person back there. There's some people on the other side sitting. So if this were real, people would be screaming. And everybody on that subway would know. But yet he just walks, casually down amongst the people that are standing on the subway. So a vicious murder just happened on the subway, and no one seems to notice. And they said that people tried to, help her, but she couldn't be helped. So, they would be screaming and yelling, but he just walks down the subway like la-di-da, all blood dripping everywhere. No one seems to care or notice, or if they do, they're not going to say anything. So it's central casting everybody on the subway car. So it looks like what he does here, he takes off his pullover, his hoodie, and I don't know, maybe it's blood stained in the front, but I didn't see it, and maybe the color of it. So, and then it probably wraps the knife up in it, and then, I don't know, walks off the train, and then they get him later, evidently, because that's part of what they told him. So you're gonna play that. Everybody's just gonna do this, and you're not going to be impeded, and then you just walk off the train, and we're going to come get you. And all right, so that's that. And so evidently that brutal murder is not getting any publicity yet, right? Is it we the people have to really get involved here? That's what I thought initially. But I thought COVID was real at first too. So I've learned to really look at these types of things that are strange anomalies and go, something's not right here. Let's look closer. And that's what I've done. So this is a false flag. This is a bullshit deal. Now, maybe, they're going to come out. It's like, well, our daughter was really killed and here's her body in a casket that's too small for her, like George Floyd, right? So I don't know. So let's look at all of the stuff that there's a lot of people out there. Some of them just are sharing the information on X. X seems to be the only place where it's happening, as Elon will tell you. Elon Musk, whose net worth in 2012 was 2.5 billion or something like that. And today his net worth is over 400 billion. And same thing with Zuckerberg. His net wealth was he was just a little billionaire in 2012. And now he's 200 billion something. And same thing with Jeff Bezos. So a lot of these people made a lot of money, right? So why? How? And all of them are involved in social media now, all of them, right? So that's one of the things that you have to start to look at. Do they get wealthy off? Do they just know what social media to invest in or what to do? Or were they backed by the CIA? Yes, all of them. All of them became wealthy because of CIA guys, right? All of them. Now, a lot of people want to say that Elon's good. All right, so maybe now, maybe not before, maybe now, maybe he was and then wasn't and is again. Same thing with Zuckerberg, who was sitting next to Trump in a recent meeting, or they're gonna along with Bill Gates next to Melania, and she gave him she gave him a look like look, the kid, if looks could kill, right? Melania gave him one of those. And of course, social media blew up and said she's all naughty because she did that. So it's very interesting, this play, this, social media platforms trying to sway us certain ways, give us certain information. They're trying to do another, white against black. It's very obvious. I've done this. I've seen this happen over and over again. So we have to point it out so everybody gets it. What should a sentence be? Black folks need to speak up about this anti-white racist, right? So you're going to have all these different opinions here. They're basically in this lady right here, new Charlotte Mayor V. Lyles issue statement on the woman who was stabbed in the throat, suggests that people aren't being respectful by sharing footage of the incident. Stop sharing it. Right? So that's going to make people share it more, right? Of course. Charlotte residents can rest assured, however, because Lyles says she is thinking hard about what safety really looks like in her city. So one of the things they're talking about is on these subways, just, they do all these checks. You know how they started doing checks in New York? So they do all the checks before you go on an airplane. And remember that one show with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he goes to Mars, right? And he goes through this screening, and he's got a gun on him, and they see it, and they start chasing him. Are they going to start doing that in subways now, right? Or are they going to use this as an excuse to start to, do more monitoring of us more than they already do? It's very possible. So this video of the heartbreaking attack that took Irina's life is now public. I want to thank our media partners and community members who have chosen not to repost or share. So all the media platforms are not sharing this at all. They're not even talking about it. So here you see this black man. He's in London slapping this guard. So he's like, and then people were coming up and say, hey, he's just doing his job. So basically what happens.
Listen, he's doing his job. Don't be an idiot. You can't do nothing.
Bam. So the guard knocks him out. Yeah, that happened. So, this is all staged, guys. So here you go. One was killed simply taking the train home. The other was a felon who OD'd on fentanyl. So more information is coming out about George Floyd. I said the day it happened, it was a false flag. And boy, did I get restricted on YouTube. All right, so guess whose death sparked nationwide fires? Yeah, not the white girl. All right, so this is a Netflix show. Now,
stand there if I lie.
You're live on Facebook right now.
I've got you too.
Me too.
Me too.
So all the people on the train are, this guy is harassing a black woman, the opposite. And at Netflix, it's like all these people are like having him live, like this was live. And so he stops harassing her. They're saying this is unreality, which it is, of course, of, social media platforms and so forth that are trying to influence us. And here supposedly is reality. This is definitely a staged event, right? So here's another. So of course she looks up. Who knows, maybe this is a signal that she's ready, where she pushes her glasses. So none of these people react to this guy stabbing her, right? All right, so you're going to have a lot of, social media is going to start to blow up on this and promote this. Yes, water otter, yes, they stalk and do rituals. So this could be some type of ritual where She was actually killed, not realizing she was going to be killed. She's part of the, Actors Guild or whatever. And they're like, okay, this is your part. And what she really stabbed, because it cut out. Or we're not going to see, we're not going to show you that where he actually stabbed her. But we'll show you where he walked all bloody, dripping blood. But we're not going to show you that because it's just too bad. It's too bad. Even that, like that scene by Tony Robinson, I posted that on X, and X took it away. Now you can click on Tony Robinson's link and go watch that video I just showed you guys. Who knows? Maybe YouTube will cancel it off too. They've done that in the past where I've shown some of this stuff like this. So let's look at what's going on with the posting of this. So there's zero in the rest of social media, and this is people are like, if they're suppressing this, then it's really important. All right. So in wokeness, zero AP stories, PBS, New York Times, NPR, Wall Street Journal, BBC, CNN, WAPO, Reuters, and MSNBC. Nothing. Zero stories. Because they're trying to do, in everybody's opinion, they're trying to cover up for the Black community, right? So imagine the media outrage had the races been reversed, and then it shows, Zero News, 23, Irina butchered, this violent repeat offender who had been arrested 14 times and was still free. So here's all the 14, I guess, shots of him having been arrested. Of course, they're going to go with blackmails and negatives. And the first slave owner in America was not only a Black man, he went to court and demanded it. So all these different things. Here's another one. If the races were reversed, the headlines would write themselves, and everyone knows it. So this couple right here supposedly was killed by these 5 Black people, one of them being a woman. The animal's picture below, carjacked, then raped Christopher Newsom. So they raped a man, so cut off his penis, then set him on fire and fatally shot him several times while they forced his girlfriend, Shannon Christian, to watch. An even more cruel fate awaited her. She was beaten and gang raped in many ways for 4 days by all of them while they took turns urinating on her, then cut off her breast and put chemicals in her mouth, then murdered her. Why didn't that receive national coverage? So again, this is that staged? Did that really happen? What's the background on that? If it did happen, yes, why wasn't it covered? So this is, and was it suppressed so that when this came out, they could let that rise up then? Because it would outrage people. It's the Black community is attacking whites everywhere and they're suppressing it. We have to take matters into our own hands. That's what they want. And that's what they've been doing for a long time. So let's go all the way back to Charlie Manson. All right. Helter Skelter, the Charles Manson Tate murders. All right. So let me show you all the information on this, because it takes a long time for us to basically break this down and find out all the truth. So this is the AI overview. Charles Manson did not personally participate in the Tate murders, but he was the cult leader, again, CIA, who ordered his followers to commit the killings. Manson was convicted under legal principle of vicarious liability. So he went to jail for the rest of his life, and he was killed just recently in prison. On the night of August 8th, 1969, Manson family members Charles Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenz-Winkle, and Linda Kazabian drove to the Los Angeles home of actor Sharon Tate. At the time, Tate was 8.5 months pregnant. More outrage. And married to director, so she was an actress. She was actually in a vampire movie. Yeah. So she was married to director Roman Polanski, pedophile guy, right? So he basically has escaped being charged for pedophilia and held accountable here in the U.S. by running to the U.S. or running to UK. And so during this murder, he was away in Europe. Just perfectly timed, right? The family members brutally murdered 5 people at the home. Sharon Tate stabbed 16 times as she begged for the life of her unborn baby. So I guess when they questioned these people that did the murders, they said, yeah, well, they could see that she was stabbed 16 times, but that I guess they had to have told them that she begged for her baby's life. What I mean, if you murder somebody, you know you're probably going to be executed. You probably would leave some of this stuff out, right? But somehow they got him to admit all this stuff. Stephen Parent, an 18-year-old, shot in his car as he was leaving the property. I guess he was trying to escape, so they shot him. Jay Sebring, a celebrity hairstylist and former boyfriend of Tate, at her home while her husband's away. Interesting. Shot and stabbed. And then Wojciech Frykowski, an aspiring screenwriter and friend of Polanski. So he's like, yeah, go to my home and hang out. And we're going to have a movie script they're going to be doing. And so people are going to show up. It's just a play act. Don't worry. Yeah, that's probably how this happened. And stabbed 51 times and shot twice. Why? Why 51 times and shot twice? I guess it's like that's what happens when you're enraged and crazy. They want to make this look like they wanted this to be Helter Skelter from the White Album of the Beatles. They wanted this, and of course the Beatles also part of the MI6 and all that stuff, CIA, same stuff, right? It's all part of this. A lot of these groups are part of the CIA, and they're basically, killed off as well. John Lennon killed off. A lot of these people get killed off over time to cover up. All right, so Abigail Folger, Coffee Harris, and girlfriend of Frykowski, stabbed 28 times. So they wanted, and then as they're leaving, they wrote pig. This was during that time frame. The blacks called whites pigs, or the like the people that are rich, they call them pigs. So this is trying to get again, start a race war. So the LaBianca murders, the next night, Manson, still dissatisfied. I guess he wants to make this really, his CIA handlers really wanted this to really get blown out of proportion and really enrage the white community against the blacks, which didn't happen again. And it hasn't happened and won't happen for this one either, because we're not that stupid, but they keep doing this over and over again. We just need to go in and stop this. Let's just take down that CIA headquarters, right? I've been saying CIA has to go away. So, though Manson left before the killings began, he instructed Watson, Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten to stab the couple to death. At the scene, the followers scrawled, "Death to pigs, rise and helter skelter, rise up, against the black community, or rise black community against the whites." And on the walls, a refrigerator and the victim's blood. Motive for the killings. The prosecution's primary theory, developed by District Attorney Vincent Bugliosi, detailed in his book Helter Skelter, focused on Manson's twisted interpretation of the Beatles' music. Laurel Canyon, all right, CIA, we're going to talk about that in a second. So Laurel Canyon, where all this stuff, close to where the Manson group was. I think they might have been further up the canyon. I don't know. Helter Skelter, Manson believed that songs on the Beatles' White Album were secret messages foretelling an apocalyptic race war. He thought the murders of prominent white people would spark this helter skelter. So again, they keep doing this. They keep doing this. So white people against blacks, and whites against black, and blacks against whites. So you keep trying to do this race war stuff. It's so ridiculous. All right, at this point, you should be on to them. All right, Hollywood Revenge. Manson was an inspiring musician who felt rejected by the music industry. The Tate home had previously been occupied by music producer Terry Melcher, who had refused to sign Manson. While Manson likely knew Melcher no longer lived there, targeting the house may have been an act of symbolic revenge against the establishment. Okay, that's totally CIA. Make this stuff up. Right? So after Manson follower Bobby Boussoleil was arrested for a separate murder, some insiders testified that the subsequent killings were copycat crimes. Arrest and conviction. So they basically, after California, so death penalty was abolished. So they were commuted to life in prison. So I guess they abolished the death penalty just before them. Another CIA-controlled operation. You're going to do this, but we're going to take care of you. Make sure you don't get the death penalty, but we're going to hook you up in all these different areas. You're going to be famous. Maybe they didn't realize they were going to be famous the way they were famous, but the CIA does that quite often. I can tell you. All right. They'll use you, and then they'll kill you. They'll make you famous. Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the secret history of the 60s. So there have been a lot of people that have come out and, talked about this deeper connection. So this author goes into deeper detail, reveals some things. One thing that I think is very interesting is he details Manson's music industry contacts, rock star Dennis Wilson. So Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys recently, I believe, committed suicide, and he had a long time someone that was handling him that basically was probably CIA as well, that kept him a crazy man, pretty much, which is very unfortunate. But they like I said, they'll have these stars. It's a deal with the devil, and they have these stars. They help them become famous, and then they want to use them, and somehow it doesn't work out always. All right. So O'Neill details how August 16 raid of Spawn Ranch resulted in where's Spawn Ranch? So it looks like it's back up in the canyon. Spawn Movie Ranch was a 65-acre movie ranch in Los Angeles, California. Period. It was used as a ranch, dairy farm, lady movie set. So I don't know if that's up Laurel Canyon. I believe it's up around Laurel Canyon. So it doesn't say that though, but I'm just like, I just put this together because I was like, I got to get this out before everybody gets sucked into this bullshit. All right, so here's Laurel Canyon. It's going to talk about it. You're going to be like, holy moly, just like I have been. CIA Laurel Canyon. Conspiracy theory, of course, because the CIA started conspiracy theory to distract people from investigating what they do. Like the JFK assassination, they called it. Anyone that would refute that, there was a lone gunman was a conspiracy theorist that helped shut a lot of people down for many years. Alleges that the Central Intelligence Agency and Military Intelligence Agency created or influenced the 1960s and 70s counterculture music scene. Of course they did, to manipulate and neutralize the anti-war movement. The theory is fueled by the existence of a top secret military facility, the Lookout Mountain Laboratory, located high above Laurel Canyon during the period when the music scene was thriving. Jim Morrison, of course, his father was an admiral, right? Naval officer who commanded U.S. forces in the Gulf of Tonkin incident that started the Vietnam War. All right, and Frank Zappa. So lots of other people that it was lots of people connected with Laurel Canyon CIA. So military propaganda. Operating from 47 to 69, the lab was a heavily fortified film studio run by the U.S. military. It was responsible for producing thousands of classified films, including footage of nuclear tests. You've seen those nuclear tests? Don't they look kind of funny today? You know, back in the day when we saw they were doing those tests and, you know, those buildings just like disintegrated and trees like bent over and then whoosh, gone. I think that's pretty much old CGI, all right? So now we look at that stuff and, you know, we don't see that as much now because everybody's onto that stuff, kind of like 9/11. You know, we're onto their, you know, manipulation of information, visual information and so forth. The nuclear test and other projects were created in that Laurel Canyon Lookout Mountain laboratory. The facility had sound stages, editing suites, and other production elements. A number of Hollywood figures, including Walt Disney and Ronald Reagan, had security clearance to work there. Wow. So see how all this ties together? It's just so funny. It's so funny. Haha. All right. So Jim Morrison, like we talked about, Frank Zappa, his father, Francis, was a chemical weapons specialist at the Edgewood Arsenal, linked to the CIA's MK Ultra mind control experiments. Other musicians, Stephen Stills, Peter Tork, who traveled to Latin American countries around the time. The CIA was involved in toppling governments there. All right, so according to the theory, the military industrial complex viewed the anti-war movement as a threat. So they had the LSD, MK Ultra stuff, of course. And then the theory claims that the agency promoted a culture of sex, drugs, and rock and roll to distract young people, divide and conquer. This new hippie image became a caricature, allegedly making the anti-war cause less appealing to mainstream America and further polarizing the country. So there you go. There's your ties to the Manson, CIA, and probably this current CIA, manufactured BS. So anyway, there you go. Now, what else is going on in the world? I'll just throw a little bit extra in here for your viewing entertainment and your knowledge. So it seems like they're starting to take down. So we talked about how they're going to take down the internet and everything. Everything's going to go black for like 3 days. Is this going to be manufactured by the deep state and it's utilized by the white hats, or the white hat's going to do it to expose the deep state? Now, this is Patrick Henry. He's exposing cables that were cut and GPS is being jammed and businesses are being shut down.
Map of these cables that have been cut. All right, you can see here there's two major lines that have been cut that connect Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. You can see here's one.
So the Middle East, so in Afghanistan, there's a lot of shaking going on. Looks like this one area that I talked about, I said, they said 800 people had died. I said it's probably going to be 10 times that amount. So they've had another earthquake, even more powerful earthquake, which has, and I think that the earthquakes that we're having right now are just the beginning, guys. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's all deep state. No, it's not deep state, but the deep state will, help these along a little bit, but they're not completely controlling these. This is earth changes that are happening. Now, the Yemenis it looks like they've cut the cable. And, there's definitely a little war going on. As you can see here, it's, cutting off a lot of the Middle East. Goes through Saudi Arabia, down through Yemen. This is Yemen, right? So the Yemenis are believed to have cut the cable. So there's no, communication. Microsoft, all right, is not able to conduct business. So it's shutting down that area, shutting down the information that's moving through that area. So you just have to be aware, there's still a little war going on between Israel and everybody in the Middle East. So you have a drone that basically has somehow slipped through the state-of-the-art, taking down. So one drone somehow got through and hit Ramon Airport in South Israel. So it says one lightly hurt. All right, so here's pictures of it. So somehow it made it through and blew up. So just keeping the tensions high. Now, did Yemen launch that and actually get it through, or was it a deep state thing? Or did the deep state go ahead and launch that drone? We're not going to shoot that one down. And this is where we want it to crash. So it won't really hurt anybody, but it'll draw a lot of attention to this. And so Hamas can continue to be killed by Israel. And just, they just keep these wars going. Undersea cables cut in Red Sea, disrupting internet in parts of the region. Houthis, right? So in Yemen, Yemeni Houthis suspected. Multiple countries in Mideast and Asia see slowdowns in incident reminiscent of 2024 attack that Yemeni rebel group denied responsibility for. Undersea cable cuts in the Red Sea have, obviously, they can tell where it's disrupted from, and it happens to be right off the coast of Yemen. So, but did the Yemens actually do it, or did somebody else do it? And they're going to blame it on the Yemens, right? The Yemeni Houthis. All right, so that's what we got going on there. Now the U.S. military has come up with pretty high-tech drone takedown equipment. So it's basically a big thing that comes in, and it can launch projectiles that take out drones, multiple drones. I think it's got hundreds of some kind of propellant that basically will impact a drone, because they can launch hundreds and hundreds of drones. So the U.S. military, has a device that takes them down. I think that's going to be very important when we come into some of these cities like Chicago. So Chicago, I guess the mayor and, of course, the governor are already putting up roadblocks. They're having trucks that are moving slow on the roads, restricting what they believe is the military coming in. Of course, I told you guys that these Democrat cities were going to fight. They're going to become, they will become like some of these cities we see in Yemen. Or not Yemen, but in Ukraine, right? Completely blasted. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of imagery from drone attacks. This is from, I look at this stuff every day. I'm just following this stuff. I've talked about this long before the drones came out. I said that drones eventually would start to replace aircraft. And so here we are, I don't know, 25, probably even 30 years ago, I was talking about this. And here we are. So I saw it firsthand, of course, when I worked for the CIA, how we were using drones, basically drones with Hellfire missiles on them and other weaponry that would watch over us. They watched over us when we were in the latter stages of the military. So very, very high-tech stuff has been utilized for quite some time. You guys are starting to see it. Of course, it takes decades for the public to get this stuff or see this stuff. Now it's very hard for the average person to have a drone. I had a drone for a long time, utilized it for filming, but you can't use drones pretty much anywhere now. So but we're going to see drones happen drone attacks happen in U.S. cities coming. So let me show you what this looks like. All right, so this is in Ukraine, and I think this is a Russian that is, hiding from a drone.
Images.
So a lot of these guys have weaponry that can take down drones now. So they shoot at drones. There's lots of footage of the Russians. They're getting very good at like shooting down drones. But the drones still, are highly used. So by both sides. So here's Ukraine coming in and taking out these vehicles that are, for the most part, have shielding to protect them from drones. But look what happens.
From the Toretsk direction, 4 Russian tanks were attacked by Ukrainian drones as they advanced for the operation. Ukrainian drones.
All right, so they basically hit these tanks and disable them. They call them turtle tanks pretty much because they have armor plating all around them and netting and so forth, so the drones don't get through. But, of course, occasionally they do, as you see here. Both sides are upping their ability to penetrate, the netting and stuff. They have actually netted entire roads for miles and miles. There's nets around them. But of course, they learn how to get through that, and they put a drone on the roadway. Somehow they blow a hole in the net, and then a drone slips through the netting and sits on the road so that when the vehicles of the opposing force comes, the drones pop up and then attack. So you're seeing that. So they disabled. They didn't completely blow these up, but I guess it looks like the Russians are like, oh, they're onto us and they're effective. So let's get the hell out of here. So here you see this one vehicle basically hightail it out.
One of the tanks was disabled. The second tank suffered minor damage.
Now I want you guys to watch. So what they'll do is they'll damage a vehicle, and then they'll come in and they keep hitting it with drone after drone after drone after drone, and eventually just completely disable it, and it can't be utilized anymore. So this is what they're trying to do. And watch how this goes down.
It was decided not to risk the crew and to postpone the operation. The faulty tank had to be left in place. Ukrainian drones attacked for several days, tried in every possible way to destroy the Russian equipment. But this did not happen.
So you can see these drones basically have they come in with the point of detonation explosive. So the explosive has to, like, the nose cone on it has to hit something to blow. So as you see here, they have, it's going to show closer, but it has netting to prevent that. And if it does hit the net and blow, it blows at a distance away from the armor, so it doesn't pierce it. And plus, they have another plating of armor that protects the vehicle that's armored. So it's well thought out. They've learned how to do this over time, and as you're gonna see, this turns out to be very effective.
The Russians decided to take the tank back. A few days later, the tank was recovered and repaired. It will soon be back in action again. Footage of the tank being serviced and repaired.
So they've done this to a lot of the U.S. and European-made tanks and armored personnel carriers and so forth. The Russians will come in and disable the tracks or the wheeling or something, and then they'll come in and they'll grab that vehicle, that tank. They have U.S. Abrams M1 tanks, lots of them, and I guess European-made tanks, the old Panzers and all that kind of stuff that have been upgraded in the German military. They've captured many of those tanks and refurbished them just like you see here, and then they turn them and use them against the U.S.-backed, CIA-backed, MI6-backed, and Mossad. I don't know. So all the intel agencies, France and all that, whatever the French intel agency is, they're all in the whatever the Nazi Germany intel agency is these days, whatever it's called. All of them are involved in this war, guys. It's basically a intel war against Russia, and Russia's beating them, all of them. So that's pretty much what's going on the battlefield. Now, let me see. There was a part in here where they showed a city. Let me see if I can get to that. Grab that. I think it's about right here.
Another armored personnel carrier truck.
So there's another scene in here where it basically showed a city. I think this might be it.
Destroyed the house. What do you think happened to those inside as a result of this attack?
So they watch where, each side watches where their soldiers run into these these houses. That, as you can see, these villages are blown to pieces. I was going to show you one scene where it's like a Russian military guy came in and threw an anti-tank mine that's set up to, with a timer on it. He throws it into this bunker and it runs away, and it blows the hell out of this bunker. But the whole city, all of the buildings are like leveled, and that's the way it's going to be in the U.S. You're in a big city, you're in a big Democrat city like Chicago, New York, and so forth. I think those cities are going to be level, guys. So that's another thing I want to show you. So this is a drone war that's coming. It's coming from the big cities. The Democrats are going to hunker down in there with their the people they have for decades and decades have MK Ultra, and they believe that the Democrat Party is going to take care of them. So they're going to hunker down, and all the people that have been paying money into the Democrat Party they're no longer getting that. And so those people that are in those cities are going to be like, well, where's the food? Where's all the food? And it's just not going to be there. It's not going to be there. And I've seen in LA where they came in and basically hammered a truck into a jewelry store and then pulled it out. And then the owner is like, he rushes down. I guess he lives there at the jewelry store, and it looks like his son or something comes in to see what's going on. And then looks like about 25 people come in, right? African-American, and basically start hammering. They slam that guy down, and I guess he has a heart attack. But that's what's happening. I said this would happen in the big cities. So even though the Trump team is in LA and trying to go after these criminals, LA is a big city. So is Chicago. So is New York. So you can have the military. First, they came in with the National Guard to support ICE, getting the bad, illegal aliens that are going to help start. They can't do the race wars thing, so they're going to have to do something else. They're trying to do legal alien race war or something. Who knows? So they're going to continue to push until they get results, until they can, get people to start responding on some level. That's coming. All right. So some people are being outraged on both sides of the fence here, and you're going to have, probably a little kickoff of something again. George Floyd type rioting is coming, but on a scale that's like 10x, 100x times more violent and more disruptive and destructive. Right. So that's coming for the big cities. We've talked about this for 5 years. If you're still in the big cities, it's on you. So that's coming for these big cities. It's already there. It's already happening. A lot of you guys are seeing it. It's going to get worse. The Democrats, you've let these Democrats come in and take over your cities, turn them into hellholes, and now they're going to have to be rooted out, right, the hard way. And a lot of you guys are going to resist because you've been dumbed down. Not you guys that are listening to me, but almost everybody around you has been dumbed down, right? So, we saw this. 80% of the population got COVID vaccinated. So they basically wanted to see how far can we push this? How far can we push an agenda? How far can we, and that's why there's people like me that are out here. I came out, as you guys know, very early and started saying this is false flag. This is just after a while we started figuring it out. This is just, and me and doctors and other influencers, talk about how, but it was all of us on the lower level. You go next level up, Joe Rogan's and stuff like that. They didn't start getting involved until much later. So we can stop it now at our level or my level. This race war they're trying to do. We can stop that now and point this stuff out and destroy their, false flag narrative very early on. And that's being very effective. So we tried to do that with COVID, but it wasn't very effective. So now you guys are smarter about this. So now I can come in and talk about this stuff and it gets shut down very quickly because you guys are smarter about this now, right? So another false flag, this little, she's a little tiny, little Ukrainian girl, right? Ukrainian. What's going on in Ukraine? A CIA war, a MI6 war, right? It's all the same stuff. So they bring over a Ukrainian. Oh, she's like escaping. So I'm rolling it back around. Some of you guys are like, you just keep saying the same stuff. No, I tie it all together for you. All right. So there you go. All right. So another false flag. Obviously, you start to look at it, just like, oh, you're right. It's so obvious, right? So it takes some of us to, notice this stuff and bring it to everybody's attention, and then we can just knock it down. Elon Musk, shame on you. Shame on you for pushing a narrative. Tommy Robinson, shame on you for pushing a narrative that's false. All right. So there we go, guys. So now that the false narrative has been exposed, let's see who continues to push it. Who keeps pushing it? All right. Lots of love. Stay in love vibration. And I will see you guys next time.